Hey everybody, this is American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear, and today we have got another aired exception for you. This is a contestant that you did see on American Idol Season 20. Please welcome Ryleigh Madison.
Hey y'all.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to meet you. I mean, we saw you a lot this season, so it's so cool to get to talk to you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on.
Oh, thank you. Well, how have you been since American Idol? Because again, we did get the chance to see you on the show, so it's been a minute, but what have you been up to? How have you been doing?
I've been doing great since Idol. I've just been back home in North Carolina in Whiteville and just living my life. Going to school, living that normal teenage life, and I'm doing a lot of music and yeah.
Yeah, they love to talk about the city we're from, which I could pronounce as I think as Wattville. That's probably as close as I can
Hmm.
get to saying it properly.
Yes,
But
that sounds about right to me.
cool, cool. I mean, it must have been pretty crazy going from Wattville to Hollywood and just having that opportunity, which again, it's been a little while, but how did you feel at the time when you were able to get the chance to be on a TV show?
It was a crazy different atmosphere for sure. My small town is very little, and in the small town, it's easy to shine, whenever there's nobody that does what you do or anything. So, and moving to Hollywood, seeing so many talented people and just being in a huge city, things are super different. So, it was kind of a culture shock at first, and it was very overwhelming. But, I had my mom with me, which helped me a lot because she was, my piece of home and she's my best friend. So she really helped me through that. But it was a big adjustment at first.
Did you try out for the show yourself? Were you approached by the production team? How did it work for you?
So my uncle Dustin Chapman previously auditioned for the show, the season for me, so season 19, and he got to audition and he actually went to Hollywood too. So he had done that, and he told me he was like, you're of age now, so we should do it. And I was like, why not? I really did not think that I would actually get the opportunity to audition in front of the judges because it was just a long shot for me. I just come of age, so I was like, why not? So I went on the Zoom and auditioned, and I went through the whole process, and everything took off from there. It was very shocking to me that I even got past the first part, but yeah, I auditioned myself, and I'm really glad that I did.
So it sounds like you kind of went into it with not a ton of expectations of it going as far as it did.
Yeah, I just was doing it because I had the opportunity and the chance, and I wasn't going to let it slip away. And I'd been watching American Idol ever since I could walk and talk. So, it was a huge thing in my life, seeing all these people on there, like maybe that could be me one day, but you never really think that's going to be you. So I was, why not give it a chance?
Well, you talked a lot on the show about how the people before you really influenced you. I mean, you talk about Gabby Barrett and you met Lauren Elena. So it's like to get to follow in their footsteps to be on the show and probably for all the little girls watching that wanted to be like you and to go on the show in future years and be like, I remember watching Ryleigh Madison, for you to get to be that person after you were influenced by those people. I mean, that's got to be really cool.
It is absolutely. I literally just to think about how other young girls could see me and think the same thing just blows my mind. Because really, like honestly, Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Pickler, Gabby Barrett, Lorna Lena, all of those women I just really wanted to be in their shoes. And you dream these big dreams one day, but you really, like I said, you never really think it's gonna be you. So just to think that little girls could look up to me too, it just warms my heart.
Yeah, that's sort of the American Idol story. I mean, you get on that show and you just never know who's going to be watching in whatever part of this country, and that's what's really cool about it. And like you said, going into it, it was a culture shock, but you got to meet so many other people who play all different kinds of music, who are looking to touch all different kinds of people. So I think that what's so neat about music is really the ability to have an opportunity like American Idol, where all kinds of people playing all different types of music can go on there and inspire a lot of people watching.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I know you mentioned Dustin, so does his connection with the show mean that he directly linked you with the producers, or did you still have to wait in line and kind of start from scratch?
Yeah, I still had to wait in line and start from scratch, but he definitely, since it was a familiar face, because he actually accompanied me for the audition. So he played piano for me. And so yeah, there was some familiarity with him there, and it made it more at ease. You know, I wasn't so nervous because I had him by my side, because we grew up singing together, and we're in a duo together right now. And so yeah, he kind of helped me through that process, because without him, I mean, I would have done it, but I don't think that I would have been as comfortable and able to know, because he's been through it. So he kind of prepared me for what was ahead. So,
Right,
yeah.
totally makes sense. Even before you got to the judges, you obviously had to make it through producers. So I'd love to hear about some of the songs that you sang and also how you were feeling because, again, kind of low expectations, but were you nervous? Did you feel that way even just, singing through a screen?
Honestly, when I first got on the Zoom, I was excited, which is kind of not as normal for me, because I'm one to get nervous. So I was really excited. It just felt fun and new, and I'd never auditioned for a television show before, so I was pretty excited to see what it was like. And so I started. Honestly, I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to country music. I love old traditional country music. So I started with Patsy Cline, Crazy, Blue by LeAnn Rimes, and a little kind of things like that. But the producers kind of geared me towards, they asked me if I had anything a little bit more modern. So I pulled some Maddie and Tay, and then I got to the good ones by Gabby Barrett. And they were like, that one. So I did that song, which I really love. I love that song. And so, yeah, I did some of those songs, and the producers definitely, you know, guided me through a lot of things in the pathway. So, yeah,
And I'm sure that they love the idea of tapping into that story about you being inspired by Gabby because they love to sort of talk about current contestants who
yeah,
are influenced by past contestants. And I'm sure that that was a part of the conversation when they said, this is what we want you to talk about.
yes, it definitely was.
Were you in shock when they said you were going to go and sing in front of the judges?
Oh, because my mom was in the room, and everybody was like, I had these lights on me, because we had it set up pretty cool. Like, there was lights and our piano, and I was just like waiting and waiting. And finally they hopped back on, and they were like, okay, Ryleigh, you're going to the judges. And I was absolutely in shock. I started crying. Literally, I'm a crier. If you watch the show, you know that I'm a crier.
Yes.
And I can't help it. It's just my natural reaction. I'm a pretty emotional girl. So I just started crying. I was like, no way. I just really couldn't believe it. And I was just in shock for a long time, until I was actually getting on that plane and going, because, just that opportunity to audition is huge. So it was very shocking.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, it's very cool. It's very endearing, to show emotions. I think that there's a lot to process and everybody handles it differently. And I think that, you see some contestants that just have that look of shock on their face, like, what's happening? And then there's others that are
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, I can't contain myself because why should I? This is amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of emotions to process at once, and my way of handling it is just to let the tears flow. So
Yeah, people connect with that at home. It's a good strategy. What city did you go to?
I went to Nashville, Tennessee, which probably is not much of a shock. They gave us a few choices, and I love Nashville. I wanna live there one day. So I was like, absolutely Nashville, because we go there back and forth a lot between North Carolina and Tennessee, for singing and stuff. So it's very familiar to me. So I knew it would kind of bring some comfort. So that's what city I chose.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna guess that, but I know in the past seasons, you may remember they were very specific about the different cities. They would go to like 6 or 7 cities, and they would always show like the shots of the different locations, so you would like remember when you watch the show, like, oh, this person auditioned in this city. But it's kind of harder to tell now because they combine when they air everything. It's like you don't really know
Yeah, I
what's in
noticed that.
Nashville, what's in Austin. Because of that, they probably have a lot more people in one city, which gives you guys the chance to meet a lot more people at the first
Yes.
audition.
Absolutely. In my audition in Nashville, I made such good friends. I met so many amazing people. And that's the thing about Idol for me, like the top thing, is meeting such sweet and talented people, like genuinely kind people. And, even from my initial Nashville audition, I made some lifelong friends, in my opinion, that I know that are always going to be there, because we went through something together that like barely anybody gets to go through. So you kind of get a bond with people when you go through things like that. And it was amazing meeting such great people. I remember my first there's a few people from my initial Nashville audition, and one of them is Cole Ritter. I just love him to death. We connected because he's like a folky Americana singer, and he plays fiddle and all that. And I just remember me and my mom were at lunch, and he was looking for a table, and I was like, "Come on, you like just come sit with us," because I just love finding people and just talking to everybody. So him. There was a contestant named Maddox. They didn't show him, but he was just so sweet. He was my age. Dakota. I'm trying to remember everybody. I don't want to miss anybody, but um, those are the ones that initially stick with me. But there was so many people, honestly.
I don't know which day you got to perform, but there's so much to do between sitting there and having them film the shots of you guys just sitting and talking to each
Yes.
other, and then getting interviewed, and there's all kinds of rooms that you go into. There's the moment like this room. There's
Oh
the
yes.
180 room. So I mean, what did you get to do? Because I know that there's a lot of different areas that you could go to.
Yes, so I distinctly remember, I think our first day of filming and shooting, so I went straight to interview. So we walked from one hotel to the other, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna call some people for interview." And I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll be waiting around." They were like, "No." I was the first person to go to interview, and I was terrified because I had never ever done any kind of interviews in my life. Up until Idol. So that was my very first one. And I was nervous and I was scared. But, I had my mom with me. So she was like, "It's okay, Ryleigh. Just be yourself and talk and do what you do." So I went up there to the room and I got mic'd up for the very first time. I was like, "What is this on my shirt?" Like, I was just so out of my element. But something that I found within myself was it actually wasn't out of my element. I rose up to the occasion, which I did so many times, and it shocked me. I think oftentimes, new experiences, they don't mean that you have to be so fearful of them. Try to step into that if you think you can. And that's something I learned about myself new, which was I'm good at interviews and I'm good at this and that and things I would have never known unless I had done that.
Yeah, I think that's perfect advice for anybody who might want to audition for American Idol, anybody who wants to be an artist aside from the show, or anybody who wants to do anything in life. Just go for it.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's crazy to think that you were so scared and then all of a sudden you probably went from feeling that way to being in your element. I mean, was it a quick transition, or do you think that it took a little bit of time for them to start asking you questions to really start to feel comfortable?
Honestly, it was super quick for me because I'm a talkative person, so I don't really think I had a problem in that regard because I just talk and talk. But I was just scared because it was new, and so my mom. I actually after the interview, I was like, "How did I do?" Like, she's like, "I have no words." She's like, "I'm amazed. Like, you are just that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you just went in there and you did it." And I was like, "Wow, thank you, mom." She's my mom, so she's gonna say that. But and everyone around the idol crew and everybody is so like reassuring, and they work with you, and they are just awesome too. So they make a calm atmosphere, and there's no pressure really. The pressure that I found is the pressure you make for yourself. So just try to be sure of who you are and what you want to say and your goal for it. And I think everything will be just fine.
And I've heard from a lot of contestants that they really encourage you to be yourself when it comes to these interviews or even walking into the judges' room. And that probably is why you felt so comfortable, because you weren't being
Mhm.
told what to say. They weren't trying to get you to act a certain way. It was just like, be Ryleigh.
Yes, that's exactly it. And it was so welcoming and inviting that way.
Clearly, it wasn't just your mom. I mean, the show saw something in you to put you on the air and to say, we love this personality. We obviously love her voice. And it all just came together.
Yeah, that was so like shocking to me because, there's so many people that, America doesn't get to see. And, there's not time for everybody, but the experience is still under your belt regardless if you get aired or not. You still go through that amazing experience that very seldom people get to go through. So you have experience, you have life lessons, you have self-growth. But I was so shocked when they told me that I was going to be on the air because I was trying to expect nothing. I was trying to not expect anything so I wouldn't either get my hopes up or be disappointed. So I was like, whatever. But they told me, and I didn't. I thought, okay, my audition, cool. I just gonna have my audition that's gonna air, and I was just like ecstatic because I was so blessed for that to happen. And then Hollywood Week, I got a lot of airtime, which I did not expect either. And I just it's such a blessing to me because I just what are the chances of that happening? And it was amazing.
Do you remember which day you actually got to go and audition in the process?
Um, I think it was either the first or the second day. I'm not quite sure. I think it was day two. I'm pretty sure it was day two. You think I'd remember distinctly, but there was so much. There's so much that happens.
Oh yeah.
Like you get there early in the morning, and my audition day, I got there super early in the morning. Like I think it was before 7. I don't want to say like 6 o'clock, but I think it was like 6:37. And I didn't hit my pillow till like 1 in the morning. So there's a lot to do and a lot of things going on. But I think it was audition day 2, which was kind of good because the first day I think I would have been way nervous. But you kind of observe, you sit back and observe everybody, and you kind of get the hang of things, and then it's your time. You got a little bit of taste of what everybody else is doing, and it's your time. You're not sitting around too long, but you just sat around just enough to know what to do.
Right. Now, were you earlier in the day, later?
I think I was pretty early in the day, kind of like midday. I don't really know, but I know that I didn't have lunch out really at all. So I think it was like midday.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, that moment before you open the doors to walk into the room, I gotta imagine that that's a lot going through your mind.
It is terrifying. I remember I had a moment, like a moment with myself and my mom because I was cool the whole day. I was calm. I was not worried or nervous or anything. But they take you into the holding kind of space, and you see it all in front of you before you go in. So I saw everybody else coming in and going out, and either they walked out with a ticket or they didn't. They came out crying or they came out happy. And it's scary. And I had a moment with my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, this is too much. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And, she looked at me and she was like, you were made for this. Like, this is your time. She was like, do not let anxiety, do not let fear get in the way of your dreams. And I was like, okay, if my mom says I can do it, then I can do it. So I took a deep breath and I just walked forward, just one step after the other. I couldn't turn around. I wasn't going to do anything. So I just walked forward with my head held high and just went for it. That's all you can really do, and just hope for the best and put your best foot forward, because the only thing that you can control is you. So put your best foot forward and absolutely just try to kill it, and whatever happens, I'm sure it's the right thing.
Yeah. Wow. I really admire the way that you just kind of took that on as much as you were feeling scared, because it's so easy in that moment to have all of these overwhelming thoughts about if you can even do this, but you know that you can. It's just in the
Right.
moment everything's so overwhelming and you're thrust into this situation. And if I'm correct from everything I've heard, once you're at those doors, they just throw you in there and when you least expect it, and then it's like go
Yeah,
time. You don't really have any time to turn back anyway, even if you wanted to.
exactly. You just have to do it. You just got to do it. And the thing is, for me, about the thing that you said, you're meant to do it. Like you're meant for it. You can't let fear get in the way. For me, what helped me a lot is having the purpose within yourself. You're meant to do this. If you're really passionate about your calling in life, or what not, you know what you're meant to do. And if you're passionate, you know what you're meant to do. And I know that I'm meant to sing, to make music, and to tell stories through song, and things like that. So I just imagine that because I have been singing since I was 3 years old in church, and I haven't stopped since then. I think about it like an athlete. A lot of my friends at school, like they might nag or something about singing or whatnot, but I say, since when have you played baseball? They're like 3 years old. I was like, okay, I've been singing since I was 3 years old. So it's like a muscle. It's a thing that you use throughout your whole life. So idle aside, all you're doing is being who you are in the thing you've crafted your whole life into that moment. Don't think of it as, oh, this is my only shot. You're showing them who you are. They're not making you. So that's the thing that really helped me. They're not making me. I am who I am already. This is a way for me to just bring my craft to the next level. And that's what really helped me. I know that I kind of went on a spiel there, but that's just really what helped me with that. And I love what you said. So yeah.
I love what you said. I have no words. I'm not even going to comment on that because you just said it perfectly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not going to add on to that.
Well, thank you.
I'm definitely going to use that as a clip on our Instagram account because that
All
was
right.
perfect. Anyways, so obviously we did get to see your audition, but do you remember if there was anything that was cut? Because a lot of times, even the aired contestants, there's certain moments, whether it's another song or just kind of banter with the judges, that they have to cut it down somewhat. So, do you know if there was anything that they didn't actually show from your audition?
um, Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, my audition like went in my head and out. Like my mom, like I did the audition, I got the ticket and everything. She's like, "So what happened?" Because obviously she don't know until it airs. I'm like, I was like, I don't know. All I remember really is going in there, then a little bit of conversation, like what y'all saw aired. Some things like they aired, and I'm like, wait, that happened? I didn't even remember it. The adrenaline is just rushing, and you don't know what's happening. But I just remember walking in there and saying hey, and introducing myself, and then Lionel talking about my pants, and then Luke said something about my hair, which I think was not in the audition. And then I said where I was from, and that kind of banner came. And I sang one song. I didn't sing anything else, which was I was relieved because I was so nervous. I tried, once they started speaking to me, I kind of calmed down a little bit, but I was super nervous when I first stepped into that American Idol little logo. I was just scared and nervous, but I thought I was gonna have to sing another song because there was a little pause, which it might have felt longer to me, but it felt like a super long pause, and I thought that they were gonna ask me to sing another song because Lionel said, you just got to work on your nerves. And I was like, I can do that. Like in the audition, I'm like, I can do that. He's like, I know you can. But so I thought they were going to have me sing another song, but I just sang that one and they told me I was going to Hollywood. And that moment I'll forever remember because I was just so like proud of myself because I had struggled with a lot of fear and anxiety during that time. It's scary. And so I just couldn't believe it that I had done that. Just that. Even if I wouldn't have got the golden ticket, I would have been so proud of myself because it's hard standing in that circle, doing that big old elaborate thing, especially when you're from a small town. So that audition was really real and raw how I felt.
How cool is that you've been watching the show since forever and you've seen so many singers come and go and they all started in that room on that circle getting that ticket and then that was you. Just like Carrie, just like Gabby, just like Lauren. Now it's your turn.
It literally is unreal. I don't think I have words to describe it. Like, it is just absolutely unreal. Like, it don't feel real for a while. It didn't feel real to me for a while. I was just like, I can't believe it. Like, and you can't tell anybody, like when you come back home, you can't tell anybody where you went and like stuff like that. So it's really just mind blowing, honestly, because like I said, I had dreamed of it since I was little, and a lot of people do. And a lot of people don't get the opportunity to, act on a dream that big. And, it is accessible. Like anybody that may be listening to this, if you want to do that, it's accessible to you. You can do Zoom auditions, anything. Just fight for it. You never know. Even if you have the slightest little itch to do it, just do it. Just try because you never ever know if how far you might get. You might win the whole thing for who knows. Just try.
Noah Thompson probably had no idea that he would even get past the audition and he won the entire season.
Exactly. Just try, y'all. Just do it.
I was just watching your genre challenge performance, and when they aired it, they kind of meshed it with Noah's genre challenge performance. And Lauren Elena talked to both you and Noah Thompson, so they really kind of were able to make a nice package of both of your performances. And again, what an unassuming musician because he just went in there with Arthur signing him up for the show, and
Yep.
he walked away and won the whole thing. But I mean, let's just talk about your first performance there because seeing you and Lauren, I remember watching that and just feeling so touched by the conversation you guys had. It was so cool to see such a full circle moment between an alumni and a current contestant. How did that
It
feel?
honestly, let me just say this. She is the kindest and most genuine person I have ever met. I'm gonna be honest, I was a mess. As you can see, I was a mess because like I said, I'd watched her on Idol and her season she was on it with Scotty McCreery and he's from North Carolina and he won the whole thing. So, it was crazy and um I loved her album, her first album. I had sang every one of her songs. Like I know her music by heart. I love her. Like I've always connected with her so much because she's just who she is. She has a big old accent and she has a strong voice and she's such a strong woman and I just loved her. And so we were all sitting outside, we're doing whatever and they asked me to come sit in a chair by myself and I'm like, "What? Okay." I didn't know what was going on. And then I hear footsteps and I look up and Laura Lane is in front of me and I just lose it. I just start crying because she's one of my heroes, like my inspiration just right in front of me. And she's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And it was just her advice to me. We really like, aside from the TV, the lights, the everything, we connected on like a person and person level because she told me she saw a lot of herself in me, which was the biggest compliment. And she gave me advice, on just being myself and we connected on like singing Patsy Cline and it was just amazing. We talked for I'm kid you not, maybe 30 minutes.
Oh
They
wow.
condensed it down a lot, but we just had our time and we talked for like half an hour and it was just amazing.
Wow. I mean, I remember so vividly. I've watched every season. I remember sitting on my couch when she walked on the Idol stage for the first time when she auditioned in Nashville. I remember that moment. She sang "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing" by Aerosmith, and she went on to get second place. And and even Scotty winning the whole thing. I think that was my favorite season from the Fox era before the show moved to ABC. But I mean, she was so talented, and her performance of "Like My Mother Does." I'm sure. I mean, you know the whole thing, but
I
that's
have actually about that song. I sung that song, in church for Mother's Day, different places for Mother's Day. So it was just so full circle for me in that way, and I just love her to death.
Yeah, it's that song, and I think if I'm correct, it's not. I don't know if she originally wrote it or if it was written for her, but even if it's a cover, the way she sang it was just so. I'm sure
So
so
good.
inspiring for you. I mean, look at the relationship you have with your mom to get to listen to that
Right. I
song.
love that song. And literally, I would sing that song in church and I would just cry because it just touched me so much because I related to the lyrics to a T. So it was so amazing.
I'm an only child. I never had a sister, so like I couldn't relate to it as much, but I always knew how good it was. And
Yeah.
then like a couple months ago, I noticed the relationship that my girlfriend had with her mom, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
I sent her the song, and then it started really moving me because I was like, I realized all these years later how much it must move so many girls out there who can
Yes.
relate to it. So I can't imagine what it was like to get to meet her because you've
It was
looked up
fun.
to her for so long.
Yeah, I would not trade it for the world. Like it will always be such a fun memory to look back on, and I hope that I can meet her in the future too. That would be ideal.
You never know. I mean, whatever you've been manifesting, whether it's playing the Opry or any show, maybe
That is a
open.
huge goal for me. Is the Opry. So
Yeah,
definitely,
maybe you'll open for her. Or who knows?
I know. I'm fingers crossed.
I don't know at this point what like how much more magical it can get for you. I mean, it's just been probably so amazing to get the golden ticket, meet Lauren Elaine, and meet all these amazing musicians. But it's incredible that you got as far as you did, and there's still so much that you would get out of Hollywood Week. So you must have met a lot more people.
Absolutely. I met Emerson. I met Danielle. I met Morgan, my friend Bryce. Some of those people weren't aired. I met Tristan. Oh my gosh. Tristan, I love him. He's one of my great friends. And nobody has made me laugh more than Tristan. Like the funniest person, the sweetest person. Just all those people, Dakota, just so kind and nice and just some great friends of mine. And going from Nashville to Hollywood Week was a tough transition for me. I just, my anxiety went skyrocketed. I was so scared because, such drastic cuts, such huge things like that were happening. And, you know, it was just hard. It was tough. And the first round, genre round was, I was really nervous, but I actually that performance I sung "Crazy" by Patsy Cline, and I actually got a standing ovation from the judges. They did not show it, but I got a standing ovation, and that meant the world to me. After I really poured my heart out on the stage, and they gave me a standing ovation, and it just at that moment I could not be more like just grateful for these legends to rise to their feet because of my performance. It just touched me so much, and from there on, things got hard. Like after John Around was duet round, and that was the toughest one for me. They did not air it, which I'm thankful for because it was just not a great performance. In my opinion, my partner was Dakota, and we were great friends, but the pressure just got to us. Dakota forgot some of the words, and then I started forgetting the words, and we sung "It's Your Love" by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. So that's a huge song, and it was really difficult, but we both got through, and it was very hard. Hollywood Week was the toughest one for sure.
Wow. Do you think that that duet round was just, all the previous experiences that you had having a really great audition and genre challenge performance? Do you think that it was just, the fact that you both were standouts? They knew that you guys could deliver again in Showstopper, so it was like, all right, you're gonna get a pass this time.
I think so. We were pretty early in the lineup, so I'm thankful for that because honestly, it was so kind of bumpy that if we would have been, later on, I don't think we would have. That's
Hmm.
my opinion. I don't think we would have made it because it was really just us trying our best, and um, you know, you know how they show on TV how the duet round is like you're up all night, and that's real, like real. We were up till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get this song, with someone you've never worked with before. It is mind boggling. Your mind feels like fried by the end of the night. And for me, I have to do my hair and my makeup and my outfit and everything, and that takes a little bit. So I went to bed at 3, got up at 6 a.m. So I was running out with no sleep. California air is terrible. So there was just so many things, at that point I was like, ooh, I don't know how much longer I can do this. But I got through that, and, I'm just thankful for that for sure.
And you had to go to school in Hollywood Week on top of
Yes.
all of this.
Yes, oh my goodness. That was actually really fun actually, because all the minors, we were all best friends and we all got to, hang around with each other. But yeah, school that was terrible because we didn't get to see like everybody perform. We got pulled every now and then. We had to bank hours, so it was just
Hmm.
a
Was,
little so much going on at one time.
is it kind of like a buzzkill when you're like, wow, I get to film a TV show, but I also got to do school at the same time?
Yes, it's so like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm filming a TV show, but I gotta go to school. Like, can you
Right.
give me a break? But they're really strict on it. It's California law, so I don't blame them.
Yeah, but it's like, how are you going to focus half the time? You're thinking about what you're going to perform next. You're thinking about what the other people are performing currently and how the competition's doing. And I'm sure that there's a lot that's on your mind as you're trying to do a test. I mean, my goodness, must be difficult.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't get any schoolwork done if I'm gonna be honest.
Right. Yeah.
I was just like, but I was like I was like listening to my song over and over. I was just like, uh, I ain't worried about this school. And they're like, get on task, I was like, I have a performance in about 30 minutes. I can't get on task.
Mm. But hey, I guess that's what it takes. You want to live that country star life. It's like you got to figure out how to juggle things.
I know it's been tough. That's the hardest thing about it. You got to figure out how to do it all, especially as a kid.
Yeah, and I think we all can relate to feeling like there's only so much time in one day, and it's like you have to figure out
Yeah,
how to bank school hours and get a performance in, and really the fact that production team at American Idol can get so much done in such a short amount of time,
absolutely. They are.
but it also means that people get sent home. It's like they're off the next day because they gotta
Yeah,
run a tight ship.
that is the saddest thing about it. You make such good friends, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and I'm like, what? I can't believe it. That happened, and it was just so sad. Like I cried and cried because I'm a crier, and it was sad, and I was like, oh my gosh. But it's the name of the game, and it's
Yeah.
tough, but you know, it's just what you sign up for, kind of.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's the day and age of, Instagram and Snapchat and even just numbers, like the fact that you got to connect with all these people and that you have the ability to stay in touch, I think is really
Mhm.
lucky.
Oh yeah, one of my friends, Bryce McLaughlin, he got sent home after duet round, and I FaceTimed him like throughout the whole time I was there. So I was like, "This is what happened. This is what happened." So, you don't lose connection with those people. Thankfully, you have a way to connect and keep updated, and I think through Idol, there's a person wherever I go now, like any state, I'm like, who's someone I can talk to. So that's great. The connections are such a great and integral part of being married, making friends and making buddies and just connecting because you have one thing in common, everybody. So, you're not, a weirdo trying to be like, I wonder how I can make friends. You have one common ground, so that's good.
There's a lot of time that you aren't even filming because you made it all the way to Showstoppers. They give you a break in between Duet and Showstopper. They give you a break in between Showstopper and Green Mile results. Do you have any memories, or even going back to maybe arriving at Hollywood Week? Do you have any memories of like fun moments that you weren't filming, but just something that happened with you and other contestants? Those bonding moments.
For sure. So we had a day off. I think it was in between Showstopper and Green Mile. I don't really remember because everything's a blur from that time. But we toured. I just stuttered. We toured on the way a bus in LA. My mind was going off track. We toured a bus tour in LA, and we got to see the Hollywood sign and like all those touristy things. And I went with Tristan, Dakota, Valerie, and I think that was it. But we all hopped in the car together and we took that bus tour, and it was just so fun. I felt like I was on a field trip. I was like, this is too good to be true because I'd never ever been anywhere near LA. So I was like, I'm gonna get it for what it's worth. And we saw everything and all the celebrities' houses, which I'm not really sure if that's even true. Like, I don't know. I was just looking at these houses in Beverly Hills, and I was just like, man, this is pretty nice. All in the movies, I see all these things from movies, and I'm just like fangirling because I'm like, wow, I just can't believe I'm there. Like, I just don't feel like half of me, I was like, I don't even deserve to be here.
Ah,
Imposter syndrome like took me on big time. But just having friends like people your age because they have never been through it either. So they're all trying to go through the same thing you are, and they help you out a lot though.
well, that's the thing is there are other people, whether they're from a small town or even just somewhere else that's so different from Hollywood, and you're all there and you're all getting to experience this. And so it's kind of a reminder, like, yeah, we all do deserve to be here. We're all talented. We've all
Yeah.
worked hard to get to this point, and then you get to kind of celebrate the fact that you've made it this far.
Right. And honestly, I had such great people. Like, I don't know what it's like on any other season, but my group of people were just amazing because there was no tension, there was no like competitiveness between anybody, which I was so grateful for because, sometimes they're kind of like, this is a competition and you're here to win. But honestly, for me, I know for me and for a lot of other people, it's not really about winning or competing against each other. It's kind of like we're all in it together, and whatever happens, like we you become a family at the end of it all, no matter how far you get. You know, I can't say much. I don't think it would happen in initial audition, but in the Hollywood Week process, you just become a family, like honestly, and you're all trying your best, and that's all anybody really asks. And there was no tension or animosity between anybody. We were all just like pushing each other, like you got this, cheering each other on. And that is just so heartwarming to me because you would think it would be different, but it's totally just love and support between everybody, and it's so beautiful, honestly.
So many other things. I mean, and I don't know if there really is anything remotely like American Idol, but just in terms of being in one place with that many people for such a short amount of time, most scenarios like that, you go, you meet people, you have a good time, but you might not stay in touch with them that much, or you might not
Mhm.
remember people that much, or the memories kind of fade over time. But with Idol, I mean, this stuff lasts forever. You go and, I know it hasn't been that long in the scheme of things, but I know that these are moments that you're always going to remember, and that these are people that you're always going to remember.
Absolutely. When you go through something so like rare and rigorous as that, you can't help but remember the people who got you through it and who were by your side, because honestly, I couldn't have done it without my friends, and having my mom with me helped a lot because, I can't imagine honestly for the older people, that aren't minors that have to have their parents because you're when you're older, you do it on your own will. Like you're not there with anybody. There's no familiarity. So I can't imagine that struggle, but just having my mom and the other contestants around me really helped, and that was the biggest thing for me because it was hard, and you need people to be your cheerleader when you can't be your own. So that's just great about Idol. It's a family, it really is.
Yeah, that's so important because in the entertainment industry, it's like it can be an overwhelming thing, and Idol is only just it is only just the beginning. I mean, you're going to experience things that can be really stressful at times, and so having people in your corner, whether it's family, blood family, or just really
Hmm.
close friends or people that are going to be your support system throughout the process, never knowing what's going to happen, but always knowing that you're going to have these people by your side, I think is going to be what's going to get you through the challenges.
Absolutely, and my mom always reminds me like, um, I don't know about other people's experiences personally because, no one would ever know that I struggled with such bad anxiety on the show and fear on the show if, I didn't speak on it because, on camera I probably, looked like I was super comfortable. And, at those moments I was, interviews and things like that just come natural. But, just the pressures on top of everything, just the pressure of, like trying to make it out. You're from such a small town. That's the thing, you want to be, that kind of voice of reason for your town. That's like, you can do it. You're not, at some point, you're not really doing it only for yourself. You're doing it for the other girls that come from a small town, the other boys, the other people, and people just from your home, and showing them, you are not bound here, you're not stuck here. That was the thing for me too, is I really just wanted to be kind of, an influence to others to show that, it does not matter where you come from or what background or anything. You can just, honestly, I sat in front of a computer and I sung, and it took me that far, just, it doesn't matter, where you come from or what, just as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and your heart's in the right place. um, I don't think it really matters that much what,
Mm.
where you come from or anything like that.
It's obviously one thing to go there and to want to achieve something for yourself, but to know that there's other people watching. I mean,
Hmm.
literally, it's a TV show, but
Yeah.
not just the people that are necessarily tuning in, watching a screen, but what it means to be a part of something. And to know
Right.
that there are people back home that are watching you and you go to school and, it's that age where everybody's kind of looking around, seeing what everybody's doing. And the fact that it means so much to you, I
Hmm.
think just goes to show that you've already achieved so much because you've already been this voice for these people. You've already shown them that they can have courage to go and do something. And not only did you not let them down by making it as far as you did, but just by taking that step and saying, I'm going to go and try this. I mean, that in itself just must have inspired so many people, whether it's your classmates or your family or your friends outside of school. And I'm sure you
Yeah.
felt that.
I really hope so. There's so many people that just that are proud of me, and that's great. But what it all comes down to is like you said, I want people to have the courage just to try, and there are going to be naysayers. A lot of this age. I'm 16, but the younger age, and when you're from a small town and you're going places, I didn't really have any or a lot of criticism from anybody, that I knew or anything like that. But um, age is a big factor in all of it. Um, there's stigma. Just because you're young doesn't mean that you have to like dumb anything down or not go for it because of it. And just people in my town are very close minded, and I just want them to know like it's this isn't all that there is. And don't get me wrong, I love my hometown. Anybody watching, I love my hometown, but you don't have to just follow the beaten path. You can go off and you can try some things, and it's okay to fail too. Like even if I would have auditioned and not gotten it, you know, so what? It's okay to fail, and failure is a part of the process. If you try anything and you don't expect to fail, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. So, if you're gonna try anything, expect failure and expect hardship and stuff like that. Because, and I want to be open about talking about how hard it was because I don't want other people to think that it's just a walk in the park and it's you just sing a little bit and whatever. It's a mentally taxing thing just as much as anything. And you can have anxiety and have so much fear and overwhelming thoughts and overthinking and still achieve things. You just got to turn it down a little bit and just know, hey, I'm going to try. And if I fail, and if what I think, what I'm scared of happens, it happens and you move on. That's the thing, I just want people to know that regardless of what circumstances or anything that you think might hold you back, just try it anyway. Because if you fail, hey, you fail. There's a 50% chance. So just do it.
I feel like it's so important that people hear the stories of, yeah, this was hard, because going on American Idol is an amazing opportunity. And yet, what you're signing up for, like you said, it's mentally taxing. And
Hmm.
that's not a bad thing. That's
Right.
just like anything hard in life. And but you're going on television, working so many hours, and forget the age. I mean, it's like if you're 16 or you're 28, it's hard.
Right.
Even for the judges. I mean, I know that they've made it. I know that they don't have to stay up, practicing a duet all night. All they have to do is sit there and judge you, but they've got to go there for long days and watch one
Hmm.
performer after the other. It probably gets tiring for them.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody involved works tirelessly. And of all people, you as the contestants are going up there. You're going on that show and putting yourself in front of millions of people, not just those people back home that are watching, that are seeing what you're going to do, what you're going to make of yourself, but all of those viewers at home. And I feel like you are a voice for your community back home, because I know you say that it can be difficult when people have certain opinions, but it's almost like you're that face of the crowd. You're a leader. And I think that's really admirable.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that because, I try to, just show people, even in just for myself, not, I don't do things, out of, praise for anybody else or for anybody else. I do what I do because I love it first off. But the other thing is, you're going to impact people no matter what you do. If you're a singer, if you're a nurse, if you're a mechanic, it don't matter. You have the opportunity to influence people. So might as well, as you're walking your path in your life, might as well try to, influence people towards something that is helpful and can make them grow instead of, diminish people and tear other people down. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're doing it for all the right reasons, and you inspire people who don't just want to make music, but who also want to do anything in their life. I mean, think about all those people that are in your town who might have a dream that seems larger than life and has nothing to do with music, but you can still say to them,
Right.
"Hey, listen, go do it." It doesn't matter what anybody thinks.
Hmm.
I know we haven't even finished talking about your entire time on the show, because there was a little bit more to go, but at this point, I feel like having made it this far, you're probably just like soaking it all in, like, wow, it's crazy to have just made it this far.
Oh yeah, every step of the way was just a shock to me. Like every round, I didn't make it to top 24 or anything like that. But the time that I was on the show, it was a complete shock. And there's a time where you have to be like, okay, wow, this happened. Okay, it happened. Like you can't just dwell on the fact that whoa, this is all happening. You got to roll with the punches and you got to pick it up and you got to kind of meter the room and see what's going on and try to pick up the pace. And so every step along the way, I had to just adapt and try to figure out, what is getting thrown at me and how I can use that to just propel me forward and growing as an artist and just as a person in general. So that helped a lot.
Now, the final round that you performed in was Showstoppers, where the big key was not only making it a top 24, but performing in front of an audience. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, depending on how much you've gigged around before Idol, had you ever performed in a crowd that was as big as the one in the Orpheum Theater?
Definitely I have, and I have been gigging since I was 13 with my uncle, so I had some of that experience under my belt, but I never performed with a full band ever. So that was a whole new thing, and I think adrenaline just screwed me over kind of. I'm proud of my performance for sure, and it didn't get me in the top 24, but I'm still proud of my performance. And even not making top 24, honestly, I was kind of grateful for that because for me at that point in my life, it was just so stressful that I would have to be away from my family for a long time, and I think everything worked out the way that it was supposed to, but um, I was just trying my best, getting up there on stage in front of in such a historic theater with so many people. The crowd just feeds your energy. So it's kind of like you have to pick it up and see what's going on in the room. And that was just incredible, like just incredible, because I got to flourish as a performer and an artist, and that was probably the most nervous I was throughout the whole show. Because it's you're there, you're by yourself with the band, and it's a lot of pressure. And that moment, this is all Hollywood Week has accumulated into this one moment, and it's very nerve wracking. But if you just get up there and you put your best foot forward, regardless of the outcome or the results, I think be proud of what you do and own it. Even though I didn't make top 24, I just loved it. I was just such great musicians and crowd and it just everything. It was so amazing, and I could not have ended on a better note in my opinion.
I know that the Green Mile portion where they actually show the results is definitely a little bit more dramatic. Of course,
Oh yeah.
they brought you and Emerson in to find out your results. So, what did it feel like to know that it wasn't just you in there, but you were up against somebody else?
It was definitely nerve wracking. Honestly, um, me and her, we were just whatever happens, happens. We didn't have any kind of like kind of neck and neck towards each other. We just loved each other so much. We were such good friends, so we were just like, whatever happens, it's gonna happen. And I'm so incredibly proud of her. Like she did phenomenal, and she went on to be phenomenal. I just love her. But that is just nerve wracking. But honestly, having her in there kind of helped me, because even though I went home and she didn't, it still helped having somebody there, because we went in, we were holding hands, we were just like nervous and just excited in a way, but yeah, it was definitely weird having somebody there, but helpful at the same time.
What were you feeling? I mean, I know it was rough to get sent
Oh
home.
yeah, I was at first. When we sat in the chair, I was just super nervous. But at that point, I'm not saying that I had not in any way am I saying had I given up, but I was just really whatever happens, happens. I wasn't gonna beat myself up if I didn't make or I didn't make it. I wasn't gonna beat myself up, and I wasn't gonna get on this high that if I did make it. I was just honestly, I'm a Christian, so I believe that whatever was in the Lord's plan was gonna happen, and I had so much peace. I prayed about it, and I was just I just prayed, and I was like, Lord, whatever happens, that is it. It's your will. I'm gonna have a smile on my face either way. It was sad. Believe me, it was so sad. And it was hard to hear. But, you know, I was crying because I would not have these people anymore. My whole entire, little world that I had to make, I had to go back home, which I was excited for. I was excited to see my family. But it was sad because I felt like I was losing so many people, but there was a lot of people that went home too, and we all, it wasn't the end at that point. We all went back to the hotel, and we had a huge jam session, and we all just we fellowshipped. We had food, and we had a party. Not a party, but we went with each other and just hugged each other, the people who were leaving, and was so happy for the people who made it. And it was a beautiful thing to experience, honestly, because everybody was just loving and kind and just uplifted each other, whether we were sad because we were going home or happy because we made it. So it was beautiful, honestly. Just having the opportunity, it blew my mind. And for not only the judges but the crew and everybody, just there's a lot of people there, but you really feel like you're individually cared for. And somebody had to have some faith in you. And honestly, I formed friendships with the not the cast, but the crew, like the camera workers, the interviewers, and they knew me by name, and we had a personal relationship. And those people that believed in you, and they sowed a seed in you that of determination and drive, and they just fed into you every step of the way. And I'm grateful for those people. Oftentimes they kind of get overlooked, but they keep you going some days. You're just tired, and maybe a smile on their face leading you to the right door or something will just keep you going a little bit further. But that, along with just the people and the opportunities and just the beautiful people inside and out that I met, just I would do it all over again. Honestly, I don't think I'd ever do Idol again, just because you know, that's just not where my heart's at anymore. But because, once you have one experience and you have these people associated with it, you kind of don't want to ruin it. So I want my people, and but those people just, I'll always be so grateful for those experiences, the people, the long days and the tiring days and the happy moments and all of it. It was just, and to be so young and to have that experience under my belt is just, it's the best of both worlds, honestly.
Wow. Wow. It's kind of like if they asked you like if you want to make a reboot, it's like the first one was so good, you want to just remember that as it
Right.
was. How remarkable is it though that, the crew, they're the ones working tirelessly to make all this happen and they're the ones keeping you going. It's like that to me is really amazing.
Exactly. Like, you know, it's such a atmosphere of like, you if you give me what like I need, I'll give you what you need. So it was very like, but it was a very professional atmosphere. But you know, even me, like, you could tell everybody's working so hard, and um, just a simple compliment here and there from like me to them or them to me, like it just keeps each other going because it's hard. It's everything. A lot of things are hard, but the industry, the TV industry, the music industry, it's just it's just really a different world as far as like the workforce life. It's a whole different thing because there's just different aspects about it, and it's just different. But when you work with people who um, see your potential, if they invest in you just as much as you invest in them, then it just benefits everybody all the way around.
Well, it sounds like you learned a lot about working in that environment from your time on the show.
Definitely. Just I tried so hard to soak it up, everything. Like anything and everything, I try to just be a sponge in that environment. And a lot of the times when I'm with people that are of higher esteem than me, I try to, have the mindset that I know nothing. I don't know anything right now. So I'm going to walk into this experience as blank slate as anything, and I'm gonna try to learn and suck up knowledge and wisdom because people who have done it before you, they're there for a reason because they know what they're doing. Just aside from like the artist part of it, but just like the business part of it too. You just learn so much, especially if you turn on your listening ears and you try and you ask questions. Like I'd ask a whole bunch of questions too. Why are we using this? Like why are you using the boom mic instead of this? Like just anything. And it just really helped me learn a lot.
That's so awesome. I feel like, especially as a musician, even though it's a TV show, obviously the entertainment industry has a lot of collision between music and TV, or you could be doing something that's being filmed and you could learn stuff about television that could benefit you if you're performing for something that's being filmed in the future, or the lessons that you learn from the vocal coaches or people like, that actually have to do with music, like the band. I mean, there is so much that you gain from your time on the show. And I'm sure that you've taken a lot with you in a short amount of time.
Oh, absolutely. I use everything I learned now, and I'll always use everything I learned, whether it's work ethic or something dealing with me as a singer or as a person, anything. I use it all, and I think that that's kind of a universal thing for everybody. Whether no matter where you are in your life, I think you can always learn from other people and just retain the knowledge because you know certain areas of life you don't know anything, especially now that I'm growing up, I learned to realize I don't know as much as I thought I did, and you're learning lessons left and right. So just kind of humble yourself in a way in any environment you're in, and just try to learn something.
Yeah, that's really cool. I want to know what you've been up to since American Idol because I'm sure that there's been so much going on. I know you talked about your duo and maybe stuff you're doing on your own. Tell me about what's been going on since the show.
Yes. So since the show, I have moved back home, went back to school, and I've tried to, prioritize trying to balance everything. I gig every single weekend, multiple times a week, and I just try to get as much experience in my belt as I can. I'm currently learning guitar and fiddle and mandolin.
Wow.
I'm writing a whole bunch of songs. I'm trying to get some content out there, and recently, like really recently, I'm trying to push out a lot of new music and stuff like that. So I'm working hard behind the scenes. It might not look like it to the public eye, but I'm working hard behind the scenes trying to get some things out because, I want to be as genuine as possible with my music and anything I put out. I want to be genuine and heartfelt. And so I like to take time to craft some things that I think are ready for people, not just rush things out there. But Yeah, I had my duo with my uncle, and everything's going really great. So yeah.
Where can people go to stay in touch with you, social media wise or music platforms so that when you have new stuff coming out or new announcements to make, they can be in the loop?
So my Instagram and Facebook are Ryleigh Madison B, and that's pretty much all I have. I have YouTube, Ryleigh Madison, and anywhere you want to find me, just look up my name, Ryleigh Madison, and I'll pop up. And my duo stuff with my uncle, we have a duo called Kindred, like Kindred Spirits. So that is kindred.music official. So anywhere you want to find us there, that's what our duo name is. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, you have not already subscribed to American Idol Unaired, you can hit that button if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of the platforms you may be listening on. And you can also watch these interviews on YouTube. Just type in American Idol Unaired. We've got conversations with singers that you didn't see on American Idol. We've also got aired exceptions like this one, people behind the scenes of American Idol. So for all things American Idol, check out all of our platforms. You can also follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idol Unaired Podcast. Thank you guys very much for listening or watching. And Ryleigh, thank you so much for being a part of American Idol Unaired.
Thank you so much.